Chris Johnston, not sure if you listened to his podcast today, but he mentioned that the Leafs are heavily interested in one certain defenseman. The name of that defenseman is Ben Chiarot. Now, it's not a random name. It's someone that has been thrown around, but he did say that they are like severely interested, like really interested. He used the term front runners, and then he kind of walked it back a little bit, if I'm being completely honest. But if he's using it, it means that he's got some intel, and I would think that that there's some legs there, where there's smoke, there's fire. So Ben Chiarot from the Montreal Canadiens, and apparently they'd be willing to eat half of his salary as well, which should bode really nicely for the Maple Leafs, who it's dollar in, dollar out. And if you only have to bring in half of that contract, that makes it way easier to make things happen and make a deal work. But do you like Ben Chiarot? What are your thoughts on Ben Chiarot? Was he on your list? I don't remember if he was on your list earlier this week. He wasn't.
Not
No.
on my list.
So, like, is this a fit for you? Do you like it? If you woke up in the morning and this deal got hammered out, how would you feel about it?
If the Leafs spend anything significant to land Ben Chiarot, I will
Well,
not.
it's gonna be a first round pick, at least a
Yeah,
first round pick.
and that's unfortunately for me, I think is just not going to work. The reason you see what happened to Ben Chiarot this season when Shea Weber was taken away. Like he is not the same player without Shea Weber. So what we were saying when we were talking about the trade deadline wish list was we're looking for a guy to elevate the Leafs top four, not a guy that needs someone else to kind of elevate him into that top four guy. I just don't.
I think you're shortchanging Chiarot there a little bit, to be honest with you. I think we look at this season, it's sometimes the year's going really badly for that squad. So this a change of scenery could do well, but keep in mind that he did help that team to a Stanley Cup final a year ago, and he was a big part of that. So when you stick him next to a guy like Jake Muzzin, I feel like we'll get second pair, fourth defenseman vibes out of Ben Chiarot.
The other issue, he takes a lot of penalties. Like
Hmm.
in that Stanley Cup playoff alone, he had 16 penalty minutes in 22 games. Like that's another issue I think on top like reliability. Yes, he can play big minutes because he averaged like 25 minutes in the playoffs and Shea Weber had to play a lot as well.
He's a big dude too.
He's a big dude. I can see the appeal. Maybe the Leafs feel that with him on the Leafs, it'd be a different story. I'm just thinking if you're gonna spend a first round pick on a rental, it better be a guy that's gonna really bring that's gonna really elevate. I think you gotta look and see what the best options are because I don't think Ben Chiarot. We did our trade list and he wasn't on it because I guarantee we feel there are better options out there. Maybe he's the most available option. I feel like maybe they're trying to kick tires on the most available options right now. That's why his name's coming up so much. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, especially if the price tag is going to be high. And it's going to be high because there's not many defensemen that are out there, you know, come deadline time.
Well, there's a market for him, right? And basic economics, when
Supply is low and demand's high. You're going
exactly right, like supply and demand, and there's going to be Ben Sherratt's going to be high in demand, and I guarantee that he will fetch a first round pick. I can almost guarantee it. Whether or not it's a fit for the Leafs, I don't know. I don't know about that. The only other thing that you didn't bring up that I don't even know if it worries me, but and now I feel a little bit like Mike Babcock for saying this, but yeah, he plays the right side, but he's a left shot D man, and now that's 4 left shot D in your top 4, right?
well,
Like,
Rasmus Sandin played the right side tonight and he was a left shot.
oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. What do you think about Sandin tonight? You think that he did all right?
I think he did all right. I mean, the goal that the Leafs gave up wasn't exactly a great moment for that pairing, but
Yeah,
considering they were flip flopping around with the pairings and guys they were working with in the second and third pair, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because you were kind of forced to go with this lineup because Liljegren was sent down, as you predicted, by the way, when we were talking about the Adam Brooks stuff. But yeah, like I'm not too like if the guy is used to playing on his right side and his left shot. I mean, we thought about that when TJ Brody came to town. But he's not a right shot. He's a right hand. Like he plays on the right side.
Right.
He's not a right shot. If the player's comfortable with that, maybe that's why Ben Sherrod's not having because Shea Weber is a right shot. Maybe that's part of the reason it hasn't worked maybe the way he wanted to because he's been forced to be that right side. There are guys that don't like to be moved over. We know that Jake Muzzin did not like to be moved over. Rasmus Sandin
Yeah.
been known that he doesn't mind it.
I don't think Sherrod's one of those guys. I think he does feel comfortable playing the right side, but I I just in my mind it just having four defensemen and you're like all four of your top four guys as left-hand shots. It's like I said, it's a little bit of Mike Babcock in me, where it's just like you play the right. Hopefully, you got a right hand. You want to play the left. You got left-hand defenseman. It's kind of just the way it is. You got three righties, three lefties. As is, half the time you're sitting there with only one right-hand shot in the lineup when it's Justin Hall or when Dermott's in there over a guy like Liljegren. Like tonight, there's only one right-handed shot defenseman in the lineup, and it was Justin Hall. So, if that's going to end up being the case going forward, I don't know. I kind of would rather someone who's a natural right shot guy, and I just there might be a better situation than the Ben Chiarot, but thought it was very noteworthy to bring up because look, CJ's plugged in, man, and he's not saying this just to say it. He clearly has some intel here, and Ben Chiarot to the Leafs has some legs. So whether we like it or not, this could very well happen. And if it does, we're gonna have to eat our words because we're gonna have to watch it, and we're gonna have to
Hope it works.
force to like it, I guess.